Hadīth 1. Narrated Abdullāh bin Buhayna, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, once led us in a prayer and offered 2 rak'at and got up, for the 3rd rak'ah, without sitting, after the 2nd rak'ah. The people also got up with him, and when he was about to finish his prayer, we waited for him to finish the prayer with Taslim, but he said Takbir before Taslim and performed 2 prostrations while sitting, and then finished the prayer with Taslim. Hadīth 2. Narrated Abdullāh bin Buhayna, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, got up after the 2nd rak'ah of the Zuhr prayer without sitting in between the 2nd and the 3rd rak'at. When he finished the prayer, he performed 2 prostrations of Sahw, and then finished the prayer with Taslim. Hadīth 3. Narrated Abdullāh, once Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, offered 5 rak'at in the Zuhr prayer, and somebody asked him whether there was some increase in the prayer. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "What is that?" He said, "You have offered 5 rak'at." So Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, performed 2 prostrations of Sahw after Taslim. Hadīth 4. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, led us in the Asr or the Zuhr prayer and finished it with Taslim. Dhul Yadayn said to him, "O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Has the prayer been reduced?" The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked his companions, who replied in the affirmative. So Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, offered 2 more rak'at, and then performed 2 prostrations of Sahw. Sa'd said, I saw that Urwah bin az-Zubayr had offered 2 rak'at in the Maghrib prayer and finished it with Taslim. He then talked, and when he was informed about it, he completed the rest of his prayer and performed 2 prostrations, and said, "The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, prayed like this." Hadīth 5. Narrated Abu Hurairah, once Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, offered 2 rak'at and finished his prayer. So Dhul Yadayn asked him, "Has the prayer been reduced or have you forgotten?" Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Has Dhul Yadayn spoken the truth?" The people replied in the affirmative. Then Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, stood up and offered the remaining 2 rak'at and performed Taslim, and then said Takbir and performed 2 prostrations like his usual prostrations, or a bit longer, and then got up. Hadīth 6. Narrated Salamah bin Alqamah, I asked Muhammad bin Sirin whether Tashah-dud should be recited after the 2 prostrations of Sahw. He replied, "It is not mentioned in Abu Hurairah's narration." Hadīth 7. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, offered one of the evening prayers. The sub-narrator Muhammad said, "I think that it was most probably the Asr prayer," and he finished it after offering 2 rak'at only. He then stood near a piece of wood in front of the mosque and put his hand over it. Abu Bakr and Umar were amongst those who were present, but they dared not talk to him about that, because of excessive respect for him, and those who were in a hurry went out. They said, "Has the prayer been reduced?" A man who was called Dhul Yadayn by the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to the Prophet, "Has the prayer been reduced, or have you forgotten?" He said, "Neither have I forgotten, nor has the prayer been reduced." He said, "Certainly you have forgotten." So the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, offered 2 more rak'at and performed Taslim, and then said Takbir and performed a prostration of Sahw like his ordinary prostration or a bit longer, and then raised his head and said Takbir, and then put his head down and performed a prostration like his ordinary prostration or a bit longer, and then raised his head and said Takbir. Hadīth 8. Narrated Abdullāh bin Buhayna Hanasti, the ally of Bani Abdul Muttalib, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, stood up for the Zuhr prayer and he should have sat after the 2nd rak'ah, but he stood up for the 3rd rak'ah without sitting for Tashah-dud, and when he finished the prayer, he performed 2 prostrations and said Takbir on each prostration while sitting, before ending the prayer, with Taslim, And the people too performed the 2 prostrations with him instead of the sitting he forgot. Hadīth 9. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when the call for prayer is made, Satan takes to his heels passing wind so that he may not hear the adhan, and when the call is finished he comes back, and when the iqamah is pronounced, Satan again takes to his heels, and when the iqamah is finished he comes back again and tries to interfere with the person in his thoughts and says, remember this and that, which he has not thought of before the prayer, till the praying person forgets how much he has prayed. If any one of you does not remember whether he has offered 3 or 4 rakat, then he should perform 2 prostrations of Sahw while sitting. Hadīth 10. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when any one of you stands for the prayers, Satan comes and puts him in doubts till he forgets how many rakat he has prayed. So if this happens to any one of you, he should perform 2 prostrations of Sahw while sitting. Hadīth 11. Narrated Quraib, I was sent to Aisha by Ibn Abbas, Al-Miswar bin Makramah and Abdur Rahman bin Azhar. They told me to greet her on their behalf, and to ask her about the offering of the 2 rakat after the Asr prayer and to say to her, we were informed that you offer those 2 rakat, and we were told that the Prophet had forbidden offering them. Ibn Abbas said, I, along with Umar bin al-Khattab, used to beat the people whenever they offered them. I went to Aisha and told her that message. Aisha said, go and ask Salama about them. So I returned and informed them about her statement. They, then, told me to go to Salama with the same question with which they sent me to Aisha. Salama replied, I heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, forbidding them. Later, I saw him offering them immediately after he prayed the Asr prayer. He then entered my house at a time when some of the Ansari women from the tribe of Bani Haram were sitting with me, so I sent my slave girl to him having said to her, stand beside him and tell him that Salama says to you, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. I have heard you forbidding the offering of these 2 rakat after the Asr prayer, but I have seen you offering them. If he waves his hand then wait for him. The slave girl did that. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, beckoned her with his hand, and she waited for him. When he had finished the prayer he said, O daughter of Bani Umayyah, you have asked me about the 2 rakat after the Asr prayer. The people of the tribe of Abdul Qais came to me and made me busy, and I could not offer the 2 rakat after the Zuhr prayer. These 2 rakat that I have just prayed are for those missed ones. Hadīth 12. Narrated Sahw bin Sa'd as-Sa'idi, the news about the differences amongst the people of Bani Amr bin Auf reached Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and so he went to them along with some of his companions to effect a reconciliation between them. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was delayed there, and the time of the prayer was due. Bilal went to Abu Bakr and said to him, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, has been delayed there, and the time of prayer is due. So will you lead the people in prayer? Abu Bakr said, yes, if you wish. Bilal pronounced the iqamah, and Abu Bakr went forward and said Takbir for the people. In the meantime, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, came crossing the rows of the praying people, and stood in the first row, and the people started clapping. Abu Bakr would never glance sideways in his prayer, but when the people clapped much, he looked back and saw Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, beckoned him to carry on the prayer. Abu Bakr raised his hands and thanked Allah, and retreated till he reached the first row. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, went forward and led the people in the prayer. When he completed the prayer, he faced the people and said, O people! Why did you start clapping when something unusual happened to you in the prayer? Clapping is only for women. So whoever amongst you comes across something in the prayer should say, Subhanallah, for there is none who will not turn round on hearing him saying Subhanallah. O Abu Bakr! What prevented you from leading the people in the prayer when I beckoned you to do so? Abu Bakr replied, How dare the son of Abu Quhafa lead the prayer in the presence of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Hadith 13. Narrated Ismā, I went to Aisha and she was standing praying and the people, too, were standing, praying. So I said, What is the matter with the people? She beckoned with her head towards the sky. I said, Is there a sign? She nodded, intending to say, Yes. Hadith 14. Narrated Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, during his illness, prayed in his house sitting, whereas some people followed him standing, but the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, beckoned them to sit down. On completion of the prayer he said, The Imam is to be followed. So, bow when he bows, and raise your head when he raises his head.